Chi.
So the best description of what Chi that I have experienced in my research is that, so Chi is not one thing, it's a trained perception that is used in a particular context to interact with the system in that context, right? Now think of it this way, right? Like, when Chinese people were looking at these things, right? They were trying to understand how the world works, right? They didn't have advanced instruments that can objectively measure physical quantities, right? All they had were the people who had the perception and the sensitivity to recognize these things. So all traditional Chinese sciences are perception-based. They're not some intellectual psychobabble based, but they're based on actual perceptions of the people who studied this shit, right? So the human beings were the instrument, right? So all these perceptions, which is integrated information, is basically relating to information sometimes that are cross-domain within the certain ranges, right? It doesn't always happen in the same substrate. It happens across substrates. But there are two key elements, right? The first key element is that Qi refers to the primary function within the system, right? So Qi is what makes the primary function possible, right? So that's one of it, right? So essentially what it means that is what makes change happen, right? Now the second part of it is that everything that the term Qi is used for relates to change. So fundamentally what it is information transfer from one part of the system to another, or cross system, or something like that, right? Because the information is propagated as change within the system. So within that framework, it is applied to all kinds of different trained perceptions within different contexts. So in the internal martial arts, what you call Nei Qi is essentially referring to the changes that happen inside your body. But now the thing is that there is a certain level where you start opening your mind beyond the physical constraints of what you perceive your body to be, so you start feeling Qi in the space around you, right? So initially it's about Qi movement in your body, Nei Qi movement in your body, but then it becomes perturbations of the Nei Qi field that everything is a part of, right? That's a perceptual model of experience, right? So it is not something that can be measured objectively by a device unless you can model the system accurately enough in a computer simulation, and then you can basically measure the changes, measure the information flow, right? Until you can do that, there's no other way to measure it, because sometimes it's called cross-substrate, right? So that's the thing. So people think that Qi should be some abstract physical quantity that exists that you can measure in an abstract way across all the systems. It should be the same fucking thing. It's not, right? So this is why people get all bent out of shape when people refer to Qi, right? And does Qi actually have physical effects? Yeah, because the changes happen in physical substrate, right? But the important thing is not whether there's physical changes or not. It's about what the mind perceives. What are the changes the mind can perceive? So it's like, one of my best teachers said something really striking that like basically unlocked a lot of these secrets for me, was that he said the internal arts are the way they are because we are built the way we are. Like you can't separate the two. But because everything is based on how we perceive reality to be and what our bodies and minds do in order to perceive reality in a certain way. So that's the thing. So this is the part that people find difficult to wrap their heads around, right? And until they're able to separate what they know as physical reality and the perceptions, they're never going to be able to use it, because they're going to be like, oh, what is Qi? Like, I can't measure Qi, so it must not exist, right? Yeah, you can't, but some trained people can feel it, right? So, it's putting the cart before the horse, right? You train to feel it. You don't start feeling and then get into training with it, right? You train to feel it and then you can work with it, right? So, yeah.
Are you recording what you said?
Yeah.